So the March, I have both versions pulled up. This is the demo version, and this is the studio version. And this song was, I wrote this back when I was still planning on only being an instrumentalist, and it was 2 years ago. And the original Diogenetic um, demo was going to be all instrumentals. And then one night I just got frustrated and said, I'm going to be a singer. I don't care if I'm the greatest at it. I'm going to do it. Um, but you can hear, like, I just wanted to show the difference in how much more passion I had in instrumental work compared to now, because sadly, after 2 years in production and development, off and on, I just wanted to get this song done. So sadly, a lot of the lead guitar is improvised in the studio version, which it still sounds cool, but you can just hear that it's better in the demo version. And part of that also is because I got injured this year. I had a minor injury. I had a boxing fracture, and the day I finalized the march in the studio was only the second time I'd played guitar in, or second time I had played guitar in nearly 2 months, and I couldn't sweep pick. I was trying to sweep pick, and I just couldn't do it. And so we'll get back to that later, but I just wanted to show like kind of the differences in certain parts of the song. You can see right there I do much better dueling guitars and just more care. Is actually what really kind of depressed me, like, because this I rarely write my lead solos. They are exclusively improvised for the most part. But on this song, I did put a lot of thought and care into the lead solo originally. Uh, but I was so just tired of thinking about it that finally, by the time we got to cutting it in the studio, I just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna wing it," and it really shows. Now, to the untrained ear, that probably sounds sick, and yeah, it's still a sick solo, but to a professional, that I think they can tell that I put no thought into it. I'm just shredding my ass off, trying to make it the best I can with the situation. Whereas in the original, like I said, I actually wrote it. There was passion in it. There was thought, and there was sweep picking. And I'm kind of bummed that I couldn't sweep pick in the studio version. Yeah. But you also notice that in the demo version, there's scratching, DJ scratching. I was trying to, I knew I was at a disadvantage. When you're an instrumental guitarist, you're at a disadvantage because only other guitarists really like instrumental guitar music, and very few people who aren't guitarists like instrumental guitar music. Um, and so you're trying, you gotta give it everything you have, like everything I'm able to do except harmonicas in this song in the original demo version. Um, and then the studio version, it's really just guitar. Only one of the effects made it into the studio version, and that's the, I'll show you here. So here's the original ending. And here's the final ending. And that's, yeah, it's a lot cleaner and professional, I guess, in the studio version. But that kind of, I wanted it to be chaotic, and I just didn't have the energy to make it anymore for this song. I just got it over with. And the only effect that made it in was what I was doing is I would pass a wah pedal through um, an octave pedal. What an octave pedal does is it drops the tone of your whatever you put through it. Octave effect is a really common effect in music. It's used on the voice whenever you hear that like kind of demon sounding voice or supernatural voice. They're using an octave effect. It just drops the tone of whatever sound is going through it. And that's how you get that kind of sound in my track here. And it was way better than the original. The March demo version is available on my website, and it will be available on the Casualties album I'm going to release, which is all of my pre-studio demos and my all of my failed songs are projects that just never made it anywhere. Because musicians write tons of songs before they finalize a few and then take them to the studio. At least that's the way most professionals do it. That's kind of my process. But anyway, the only other thing I really wanted to touch on this was that riff right there. I actually wrote that when I was 17. Almost half my life ago. So I thought it was really cool to get to finally use it in a song. It was originally a like a blues rock song, similar-esque to a Nickelback kind of song. It broke into open chords. It was originally in low E, or E standard tuning, not drop D. But yeah. So it was cool to finally get to use that in a song. But outside of that, man, I mean, it's an instrumental. There's not really much I can say about this song. If you liked it, that's awesome. I do appreciate that. Instrumental metal songs they're kind of traditional. If you're a metal musician, a lot of bands release an instrumental song on their track. Metallica used to make one for every CD. Godsmack did one on one of their albums. It's for us. I think we do it just to push ourselves composition-wise. In the original composition, I was pushing myself, but the final composition is just kind of a jam track. So, yeah. Take her easy.